Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle and today I'm playing in Marlene's big A4 journal. I thought I would try and use one of Marlene's papers to just use as a guide to start off a page. So I have been stuck a little bit in my art recently. I have found it very difficult to create just because some things happened, and every time I kind of sat at my desk I kind of felt paralyzed. So to try and get myself out of that, I thought, let me use an existing piece of art and try and create something based on that. This is a technique that I've done for years and years. I've used a lot of Dina Wakley's, what's that book called? It's her book with her collage paper, and I've used that plenty of times to do this, and it's always something that I find quite enjoyable. So I went through Marlene's new cut and paste block and I found this little piece here. So I just tore it out of the book and glued it in with some gel medium, and I'm just going to try and extend what I can see there. So at the top there I could see green, and there was a tiny little bit at the bottom there, and so I extended the green as well. And then because I like things in three, I also added one little bit of green on the side there. I did go in with the Envy, I think it's called, and I made some marks into that one green patch, but I didn't love it. Even from the start, I didn't love it. So I just let it be there for now. And I decided, okay, well, I'll just work on the rest and then come back to that. So I've grabbed out Ballet, Fuchsia, Royal. I also have Boom, Funky, and Glow all out there. And I'm also going to use a little bit of Mermaid. And I'm just going to keep playing on building these layers. So right in the center of the page, there was some reductive stenciling there with a circular stencil with Mermaid, and so I just extended that. There was some green in the center of that page, and I just extended that. And every time afterwards, when I'm done doing my reductive stenciling, I kind of press the excess paint off into another section of the paper just to add a little bit more interest and dimension and texture every time. So you'll see me just building and building on those layers, and right at the end of the page you can barely see where the lines of that piece of paper is that I stuck on to begin with. And this paper took on a whole different look at the end of the process anyway. It didn't look at all the way that it started out. So that is the beauty of creating this way, is you have the base there for basically for your color choices. When you start off with a piece of collage paper like this, it's easy to see which colors you can use. And because Marlene obviously creates with her own paint colors, it makes it really easy to match up your colors and blend things in. So I had a look closer on my page to see what kind of patterns in that I could see, and there were these little squares, so I just extended the squares. There were definitely some words on there. Couldn't really make out what the words were, but I used the alphabet stencil and just put some letters down. Every now and then I'll do a little bit of splatter, and I do try and stick to my own personal rule of three. So if I'm putting black down, I try to keep that black in threes. or the pink in threes and the purple in threes, just for my own sake. I feel like that balances the page out a bit. I went in with some of the neon pink color and just with my finger brightened up some areas, and I also splattered a little bit of white paint that I've watered down with my fan brush, and then I'm just giving that a nice old dry. So there were tiny little butterflies in the background there, so I took out I took out a stamp set with butterflies, but they weren't quite tiny enough, so I scrapped that idea. And then I decided, okay, well, let me work on these little circly bits. At first I thought I might add some more, but then the 3 on the page worked fine for me, so I didn't add more. And then I'm just taking my white paint pen and I'm making these little heart shapes just by pressing down the tip of the paintbrush. So some of them looked a little bit like butterflies, but in the end I did go around them with the black pen, and then they looked like hearts, not butterflies. I wanted to add just a little something extra to the page. So I paged through the cut and paste block and I found these little mandalas, and I thought that I would glue them down. So they're not a focal image, but they do just add a little bit of interest to the page. And then the top one there, I decided that I would glue on that green section that I didn't like at the top there. But first I auditioned another piece to see if that would work, but that definitely did not make sense. So I went back to the one that was a half mandala and just glued that in. And this is just one of those pages again where if you had to have a really close look at everything that goes on, there's all these little delightful surprises that you would find. So if you had to look closer, you would see the patterns from the reductive stenciling, you would see the splatters, you would see the little hearts that I made there. And it's all just a really fun page to look at. So I took out the quote that was in the cut and paste block, but I felt like it was just too blocky, even though I tore the edges, and I didn't feel like cutting all those letters, fussy cutting all those letters to glue them down. So I found another quote in the sticky quote book, and it says, "Live a life filled with color and glitter." And I love color and glitter, and in fact if you walk into my house you can tell immediately that I love color and glitter because everything is colorful. And then because I had the word glitter on the page, I thought I'd better add some glitter to this page as well. So I just grabbed Marlene's Special Effects paint or glitter glue, I guess it's what they are, and I'm just adding some glittery details here and there, and into those black marks I'm just doing some dots, and then I also outlined my little hearts so they looked a little bit more like hearts. And I really like that pop of white just here and there on the page. I thought that it really brought the page together. And then because I had tiny hearts, I decided there's no such thing as enough tiny hearts. So I've just gone into my little stash of punched out hearts and tiny circles. And I grabbed the gold glitter ones that I've got there, and I'm just gluing in a couple of them into those clusters that I've got already there with the hearts. Just again to add a little bit more interest. So if you picked up my page and you looked really closely, you would see all these tiny little details that at first glance you wouldn't see, but then if you take some time to look at the page, you do see them. And right about now you can see that you can barely see the edges of what was there before, of that collage sheet that I had stuck down, because just with all the color and the mark making, it all just blends together really well. I would love to know in the comments if you've tried this technique before. If you have, did you enjoy it? If you have not, I'd like to encourage you to do so. It is a really, really fun way to create because somebody's already done the thinking for you with the color choices and patterns and that. So I can highly encourage you to go ahead and give it a shot. So to add a little bit more sparkle to my page, I'm also going over the top of my quote with the diamond special effects glue from Marlene. I love this one. It's a beautiful, subtle kind of glitter, but it adds so much to the page. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. I have loads and loads of content already on there and more to come. I will chat to you again soon, leaving you with some close-ups. Okay, bye.